Change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Why? Because growth is impossible without change. Imagine a seed planted in the soil. For it to grow into a tree, it has to push through the earth, break out of its shell, and reach for the sunlight. That process is uncomfortable and requires effort, but it's necessary for the seed to fulfill its potential. The same is true for you. Success demands that you stretch yourself, that you break free from the limitations of your current circumstances, and that you reach for something greater. I know. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something today. Why are you afraid of success? What is it about success that makes you hesitate, that causes you to pull back just when the door to opportunity is wide open? You see, success isn't this mythical land we reach by accident. No, it's a destination that demands intention, effort, and courage. But for so many, it's not failure they fear, it's success. Let's break it down. Success comes with responsibility, and that responsibility is often what intimidates people the most. It's not just about achieving something great, it's about what comes next. When you succeed, you're no longer living under the radar. People begin to notice you. Expectations rise, and suddenly the spotlight is on you. That can be unnerving, especially if you're not used to it. But let's understand something essential. Responsibility isn't a curse, it's a privilege. It's a sign that you've grown, that you've reached a level where your actions, your decisions, and your influence matter. Responsibility can feel overwhelming because it requires a shift in mindset. When you succeed, you're no longer just accountable to yourself. Your success often impacts others, your family, your community, your colleagues, or your customers. That realization can be daunting. It might make you wonder, what if I can't handle it? What if I make a mistake? But mistakes are part of the process. Responsibility doesn't demand perfection. It demands effort, commitment, and the willingness to learn. Think about it this way. Imagine someone who dreams of becoming a business owner. They work hard, build their skills, and finally open their first store. The initial excitement of success is thrilling, but then the weight of responsibility sets in. Now they have employees to manage, bills to pay, and customers to satisfy. It's no longer just about their personal dream, it's about the livelihood of others. That's a lot to take on, but it's also an incredible opportunity to grow as a leader, to make a difference, and to build something meaningful. Responsibility forces us to rise to the occasion. It pushes us out of our comfort zones and compels us to develop new skills. You might need to become a better communicator, a stronger decision maker, or a more empathetic leader. At first, this can feel like a lot of pressure. But over time, you realize that every new responsibility is an opportunity to expand your capacity. It's a chance to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. One of the greatest misunderstandings about success is that it's supposed to make life easier. The truth is, success often brings more complexity, not less. But that complexity is what makes life interesting, fulfilling, and rewarding. Without responsibility, there's no challenge. Without challenge, there's no growth. And without growth, success loses its meaning. Yes, responsibility can be scary. It means you have something to lose, but it also means you have something worth protecting, something worth building. It's a signal that you've reached a point where your actions matter in ways they didn't before. You can choose to see responsibility as a burden, or you can choose to see it as a stepping stone to something greater. The key is to embrace responsibility with a mindset of gratitude and determination. Instead of fearing it, welcome it as a sign that you're on the right path. Every time you step up to meet a responsibility, you're proving to yourself and the world that you're not afraid of success, you're ready for it. Self-doubt is one of the most powerful forces that holds people back from success. It's not the obstacles in front of them that stop them. It's the voice in their head that says, you're not good enough. You're not ready. What makes you think you can do this? This internal dialogue becomes a wall not built by circumstances, but by their own fears and insecurities. And here's the paradox. The closer people get to success, the louder that voice often becomes. Why does self-doubt intensify when we're on the brink of achieving something great? Because success represents uncharted territory. It's stepping into a space where you're no longer who you were yesterday, and that transition can be unsettling. The fear isn't just about whether you can achieve success, it's about whether you can sustain it. What if you fail? What if you can't handle the pressure? What if you let others down? These what ifs can paralyze even the most capable individuals. The truth is, self-doubt is a universal experience. Everyone faces it, from the person starting their first job to the seasoned professional leading a multinational corporation. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck isn't the absence of self-doubt. It's how they respond to it. Successful people don't let self-doubt dictate their actions. Instead, they acknowledge it, but they don't give it power. Unless we're conscious of what we believe, they move forward despite the fear because they understand that growth comes from action, not from waiting to feel ready. The problem with self-doubt is that it tricks you into believing that you need to be perfect before you can succeed. It whispers lies that say you need more experience, more knowledge, more confidence. But the truth is, success is rarely about being 100% ready. It's about being willing to take the next step, even when you feel uncertain. Progress is what builds confidence, not the other way around. You don't become confident and then take action. You take action and then become confident. One of the most effective ways to combat self-doubt is to shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you bring to the table. Maybe you don't have all the answers right now, but you have the ability to learn, adapt, and grow. Maybe you're not perfect, but perfection was never the requirement. Persistence and effort are what truly matter. When you remind yourself of your strengths, self-doubt begins to lose its grip. Another important strategy is to break your goals into smaller, manageable steps. Self-doubt often feels overwhelming because success can seem like this massive, unattainable mountain. But when you focus on taking one step at a time, the mountain becomes less intimidating. Each small win builds momentum and silences that inner critic a little more. Finally, remember that self-doubt is a sign that you're pushing your boundaries. It's proof that you're stepping into new territory, and that's exactly where you need to be if you want to grow. So when self-doubt creeps in, don't let it stop you. Let it remind you that you're on the path to something bigger, something better. Keep going, because success isn't about being fearless. It's about being courageous enough to act even when the fear is there. Fear of change is one of the most common reasons people hesitate to pursue success. It's not that they don't want to achieve their goals. It's that they're afraid of what they'll have to leave behind. Success often requires stepping into the unknown, and with that comes uncertainty, discomfort, and the possibility of loss. This fear can make people cling to their current situation, even when it's far from what they truly desire, simply because it feels familiar and safe. Change disrupts routines, habits, and comfort zones. It forces you to adjust to new circumstances, learn new skills, and sometimes let go of relationships or environments that no longer align with your growth. For many, this is a frightening prospect. The life you know may not be perfect, but at least you understand it. Success, on the other hand, is uncharted territory. It requires you to navigate situations you've never encountered before, and that can feel overwhelming. But let's reframe this perspective. Change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Why? Because growth is impossible without change. Imagine a seed planted in the soil. For it to grow into a tree, it has to push through the earth, break out of its shell, and reach for the sunlight. That process is uncomfortable and requires effort. but it's necessary for the seed to fulfill its potential. The same is true for you. Success demands that you stretch yourself, that you break free from the limitations of your current circumstances, and that you reach for something greater. Fear of change often stems from a fear of loss. You might worry about losing relationships with people who may not support your new path. You might fear losing the sense of security that comes with sticking to what you know. Or you might worry about losing the identity you've built over the years. These fears are valid, but they shouldn't hold you back. Every great achievement requires some level of sacrifice. The question is, what are you willing to let go of to make room for something better? It's also important to recognize that not all change is negative. Yes, success brings new challenges, but it also brings new opportunities. It allows you to grow in ways you never thought possible. It introduces you to new people, new experiences, and new perspectives. Change can feel uncomfortable at first, but it's often the discomfort that leads to the most rewarding outcomes. One way to overcome the fear of change is to focus on your why. Why do you want to succeed? What's the bigger purpose behind your goals? When your why is strong enough, it becomes easier to face the uncertainty that comes with change. You start to see the potential gains rather than just the potential losses. You begin to realize that staying the same is often the greater risk because it means settling for less than what you're capable of achieving. Finally, remember that change is a process, not a single event. You don't have to transform overnight. Take it one step at a time and give yourself permission to adjust along the way. Each small step you take towards success makes the unknown a little more familiar, the discomfort a little more manageable, and the fear a little less powerful. So don't let the fear of change keep you stuck. Embrace it as a sign that you're moving forward. Success isn't about staying comfortable. It's about evolving into the best version of yourself. And that evolution is worth every bit of uncertainty that comes with it.